Hey, what's going on, everybody? Movie Phantom here, and guess what? It's time for another Movie Phantom's horror review. Hope you guys had an awesome Thanksgiving. Hope you guys survived Black Friday. We went ahead and got our Christmas tree up, as you can see. So yeah. So I hope you guys had an awesome break. But we're back. The business is normal here. And yes, this week we got the double feature of For Frankenstein and Galaxy of Terror. Alright, let's start first with the 1973 classic, For Frankenstein. And it's actually most widely known as Andy Warhol's Frankenstein. It actually has a shitload of titles, but this is one that came up whenever I looked it up on right here on YouTube, actually. So this movie is here on YouTube if you want to check it out. Now, I'm going to lie, spoiler alert, I'm going to drop it all right here. This is a movie I always heard about, because it's notorious just for having tons of sex and nudity in it. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a little disappointed because there really wasn't that much sex and nudity. Like, it has its fair amount, but I feel like I've done other movies, reviewed other movies that had way more in it than this. So, a little disappointed by that, I suppose. But the basic premise here is, it's a Frankenstein tale. You got Frankenstein who's living with his wife's sister. It's his sister, but he bangs her and they have 2 kids. And but he's wanting to create this perfect race, if you will. And apparently he's already got a female Frankenstein, a bride, if you will. But he's trying to create, a monster, a man. He's not a monster, just he wants to create like the perfect specimen. And then he wants those specimens to fuck, and then have little ones, and then he'll create the perfect army, and then I guess he'll take over the world. It's a ridiculous storyline. It really is, but fuck it, right? So anyways, that's basically the premise here. Now we cut to, you have these 2 farm hands that work, on the estate. One is a complete horn dog, and the other one, and it never quite comes out and says it, but I think it's just implied that the other one is gay. And you just kind of, I picked up on that, and then the fact that he doesn't, I'll get to it. But what happens is, these 2 go to this local brothel. And if anybody's seen this movie, I got a quick question. A salamander pops up on the guy's ass. Was that supposed to come out of the ass? Was that what they was implying with that scene? If you've seen the movie, please let me know. I was curious because me and Maya was watching it. She's just like, where'd that come from? I'm like, I think they were implying it came out of his ass because he was so calm about it. But I don't know. Watch the movie and please let me know. Anyways, but the horn dog's there and he's tearing it up. But then the other guy is not even interested. This is where you kind of get the idea that maybe he's gay. He's watching the other guy and not partaking, whatever. But what happens is, Frankenstein, played by, you pronounce the name Udo Kier, which, in all honesty, he's a huge genre guy, but like whenever I see Udo Kier, the one movie that pops to mind for me is Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. He was Camp. He's the guy who has the shark in the giant tank. So anyways, he's Frankenstein. And him and his assistant, I think the assistant's name was Otto. It wasn't Igor, sorry. But they're staking out, because at this point now, he's got the perfect man created. He just needs the head to go, and he wants to find somebody who wants fucking sex. Like, he's going to find a sex machine. And he finds, what happens is, when the salamander thing pops out or whatever, the girls run out. Now, like 2 girls run out of the brothel, well then, the gay one comes out with them, right? So, when Frankenstein sees the guy with, 2 girls, he's like, my man, it's like, he's perfect for this, So, what they end up doing is that they end up killing the gay guy and then knocking out the other dude. And then, of course, they take the gay guy back to their laboratory to turn him into this perfect man. So the guy who's knocked out, like they basically, when they killed the gay guy, they just cut his head off and take the head, because that's all they wanted, and then everything else is just left behind. Well, the other guy, when he comes to, he sees like, oh shit, and he, buries the body, and he's on his way to just fucking hit the road. He's like, I'm gonna get blamed for this murder. He don't know what happened, other than the fact that he got hit from behind and woke up, and then dude's dead. Well, Frankenstein's sister wife is like, she clearly has the hots for him. And there's other things that kind of you can tell early on. But she doesn't like, she's playing it cool. She don't want to show that she likes him. It's really, but anyway, so whenever he tells her he's leaving, she quickly like, fuck it, I want to fuck you, stay here. So he stays there as a personal servant for the Frankensteins. And then what happens is, because Udo Kier don't quite, recognize him from that night when they attacked him. So Frankenstein gets his two people, his man and his woman, and has them create. Well, they're having this big dinner, and they're, here comes the two monsters or whatever, and they're sitting there with the kids, like they're all eating dinner there. Well, then of course, the friend, I forget the dude's name. He comes in, and of course he recognizes his, gay friend. I don't think he realizes he's gay or anything, but he recognizes him. But he's so much taller, so he don't quite say anything because he knows, like, Dr. Frankenstein's up to some shit. This movie is so fucking out there, and I really liked it because it was so different. I was expecting, like I said, more sex and stuff, and you don't quite get a lot of sex, but what you lacks in sex, it makes up for just so much weird bizarreness. Dr. Frankenstein himself, it's funny because he kind of, like when they're like going to the brothel and everything, Otto's talking to him, and they start having this like sex conversation, and you get the impression that like he's just repulsed by sex. Like he fucked his sister twice to have the kids, and that's it. Like it's we got our kids, we reproduce, that's it. But he's like turned on by these by the perfect woman he created. But what he does is like he has her cut open because he's doing this operation on her, and he just starts like fisting her stomach. I'm not making this up. He's fisting her stomach, but he's getting like a sexual gratification from that. It is the weirdest thing. And then of course Otto sees it, right? And of course Frankenstein's pissed that Otto's watching him fist this, corpse. And he's like, turn around, you pervert. And he's just, going at it. So Otto later on, he decides he wants a woman. And he goes after one of the housekeepers first. And that's what he does. Like instead of actually just banging, he ends up like tearing them apart and trying to fist the organs. And of course, with Frankenstein fisting a corpse that's already dead, it's not a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal, I guess, but it's not a major deal. Whereas when Otto does it, he kills, the housekeeper or whatnot. Yes, it's full of just stuff like that. And then basically what happens is, the main character, I guess, he's trying to figure out what happened to, he's trying to uncover it, and he wants to get everybody out of the house. And of course, Dr. Frankenstein trying to put a stop to that and everything. The ending is pretty cool, and I really dug the ending, and I'm going to throw a spoiler out there. I'm sorry, if you haven't seen this, please just fast forward like 20, 30 seconds, and then I'm sure I'll be rambling about the other movie. But in this one, everybody gets fucking killed. What that was funny, though, is it comes down like, because he has, Frankenstein has two kids, and they're just constantly bumming around the castle. Like the whole movie, you see these kids, they're watching all this debauchery happen and shit. Like they're just constantly like peeping on this shit. So the movie ends with they're going. Frankenstein's going to kill the main character who is strung up at this point, and then the creature who was the guy's friend, he stops it and he just kills everybody. Right. So he's like, okay, get me down, help me out. He's like, if I get you down, are you going to force me? Because he didn't want to leave. He realized he's an abomination, just wants to die, right? So he's like, if I let you down, are you going to let me go? Or you going to try to get me out of here? And the guy's like, of course. He's like, well, then I can't let you down. And he just proceeds to tear himself apart. He's just like, fuck it, and he dies. So I remember as this is happening, I tell Maya, I was just like, it's kind of dumb. Like, why don't they let him go? Like, even if he's going to kill him, like, he's clearly stronger than dude on the hook. He can easily undo him and then tear himself apart. Like, who's going to stop him? But he does this, so it leaves the guy up there. Well, then the two kids come down, and you're like, where's this gun? Because, I mean, there's a close-up on these kids, and it's just like, oh, shit, they're going to either turn on this guy or they're going to, like, not. It's going to go one or the other, And, of course, they both grab scalpels, and you think, are they going to lower it? And then they start raising it back up, and he's going back up there, and then it just fucking ends. And I'm like, holy shit, the little fucking bastards are going to, like, turn on him. So, I really dug it. Like I said, it's a different take on the Frankenstein, and that's what's good about it. Is I'm tired of seeing the same fucking movie every single time when it comes to Frankenstein or Dracula or whatever. So it was really refreshing to see something new. And I know the same company did a Dracula version that has Udo Kier in it as well, which is also known as Andy Warhol's Dracula, among other titles. I like to see that because I really dug this one. Like I said, it was definitely very campy, but at the same time it wasn't like campy over. Like I don't know, it wasn't like. It was campy in the fact that they were like kind of, you could tell they were trying to take it seriously, like the way they were doing it. So, it was just kind of a weird, combination there. I recommend it if you're into the weird, sleazy fucking movies like this. I'm sure other people will be repulsed by it or turned off by it, but I thought it was good. I really did. Thought it was good stuff, so thumbs up on this one. And then the next movie, Galaxy of Terror, which I honestly have never heard shit about at all. Like, I literally just never even heard of it. But as I'm watching it, dude, the cast is insane. It has, like, Sid Haig, Robert Englund. It has fucking Joni from Happy Days on it. The grandfather from Son-in-Law, which he's done other stuff. His name's Ray Walston or some shit like that. But it was just like a who's who's almost of like B movies. I was like, holy shit, like this is great. And so I was really excited about this. Now I assumed this was just going to be kind of a. Oh, and it has the chick from Twin Peaks. I can't think of her name right now. She was Susan Ross's mom on Seinfeld. I don't know anything beyond that. I'm sure she's done her stuff, but that's the two things I recognized her from was Twin Peaks and Seinfeld. But anyways, Grace something. She has a weird like Polish last name. So I'm watching it, and I'm like, well, this is going to clearly just be like an Alien ripoff, which I was okay with. I was like, fuck it, let's do it. I'm strapped in. And it is sort of, like, it kind of starts off that way. I will say this movie gets to the fucking point. There is no, like, slow scenes in this movie. Like, literally, it's only, like, I think it's, like, 80 minutes, 90 minutes maybe. And it's just bam, 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 bam. Unfortunately, it was just the content I didn't care for. And then you kind of get the twist at the end, which I won't spoil too. So if you're done, I'm gonna tear it now. My review for this is gonna be kind of low. So there you go. If you don't want to be spoiled, go ahead and turn it off now. And so it gets right to the point. Basically what it is, they're heading out. And it's gonna be like a rescue mission. A crew went to whatever planet, and they're all wiped out. Well, we found out they're wiped out, but they don't know that. They're on rescue them. So we show up there, and they're looking around, and basically they are getting picked off one by one, but it's like in weird ways. And they're attacked by different things. Like one guy gets his like fucking these tentacle things attached to him, and they end up eating him apart or whatever. One woman, apparently this is the scene. Because I did look this movie up afterwards. Like after I watched it, I was like, okay, I gotta look this up because this is just so odd and out there. And apparently, like the one thing this movie is remembered for is this woman is raped by a giant maggot. I'm not making this up. This is legit. And basically, you find out at the end of the movie, like they use your fears against you, but they never quite establish these are fears. They just do it. So then they're like, use your fears against us. Apparently, this woman had a fear of maggots. She sees an arm lopped off from a previous victim. I think it was Sid Haig, actually. It had maggots crawling out of it or whatever. Well, one grew up and it just fucking gets on her. And, of course, she's fighting it off. Well, then it starts ripping her clothes off. But then, of course, it goes from her screaming to her moaning in pleasure. And then there she is naked, covered in slime, and a giant maggot fucking her. And apparently there's another cut, or maybe it was on the cutting room floor and it's just lost or whatever. Apparently it was more graphic than this. It shows her writhing around underneath a giant maggot, but that's about all it shows. But apparently the maggot rape scene is like the scene. Like whenever people go up to this girl at conventions, that's like the only thing they really acknowledge. Like, hey, you was raped by a maggot. That's it. Like this is the main thing this movie's remembered for. And I can see that because I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure within a couple months when I move on to reviewing other movies, I will not remember this movie that much except for that maggot rape scene. Like it's just like everything else is just kind of bland and standard and everything else. I didn't like Sid Haig's character. I didn't get the character. He has these crystal fucking ninja stars. Like that's what he's known for. He's throwing these like crystal ninja stars. And anyways, they get shattered at one point because like there's a cave door. It's like it kind of reminds me of a little bit, like not necessarily completely like it, but it was kind of similar to like Alien versus Predator. How it's like an ancient civilization and they had this pyramid and like it was all worked out and there's like the doors were operated by some shit. I don't know. It was kind of like that. Anyway, then this door opens up, so he throws the crystals to like lodge it in there somehow. And of course, his crystals break, and then he loses his shit. He loses his shit and just gets like all like, my crystals broke. So I'm watching this movie and I was like, what the fuck? Like he's really taking this kind of hard. People are winding up dead already, and he none phased, but you break his crystals. Like he has a machine gun. He had like other weapons. And he's just like, I need my crystal stars. So what happens is, like he leaves, and that's another thing that threw me off because he somehow gets out of this closed door, and then the other girl joins. I got it. It seemed like impossible he would be able to get out, but either way he does, and he sees the crystal shards, and then they block back together. But then they start attacking him. Like he gets attacked by his own. It was just kind of, it's very cheesy. I mean, it's a Roger Corman, and I know like he's considered like God to some people. And once again, he's also known for making just B-rated stuff, anyways. But this was just kind of like I just could not get into it. Like I said, aside from maggot rape, that was like the only scene. And Robert Englund actually kind of steals the show. Like I thought he was great, and this is before. This is '81, so this is before Nightmare on Elm Street. So it was kind of to see him, rocking out. I mean, he was just, I don't know, he was really good. Like he had this natural charisma to him. Everybody else I didn't care for. Like the main guy looked like the guy from Simon and Simon. I don't know which one. He played one of the Simons. But it was just like everybody else was just like, don't really care. The ending is so fucking. And I mean, I guess, the director would be like, well, I left it up, it's ambiguous. It's like, it's not ambiguous. You guys just didn't know what the fuck to do and you just stopped the movie. In the very beginning of the movie, you get, and it was just, you don't get it at the time, and then I had to, as I watched it, it kind of catches up, and you're like, oh, I get it. There's like this witch and like this guy who's like the game master. Why we have a game master, I don't know, but his face is blurred out by, bad special effects from 1981. And anyways, it turns out it's Ray Watson, right? And when Simon, and I don't know what his real name was or a character name, I'm gonna call him Simon because he looked like a guy from Simon. Fucking butchers him. Like he just fucking straight up kills Ray Watson. He becomes the game master. But the whole time, like the two that survived was him and Robert Englund. And it's like, what happened to Robert Englund? You don't know. But Robert Englund, his whole he had to fight himself. Like he feared himself, I guess. And so he had the whole battle where he fights like bad Robert Englund. Like it's good Robert Englund versus bad Robert Englund, and that was his whole showdown. It was a kind of short movie. It was the pace was quick, but even with no slowed down dialogue scenes, it was pretty tedious at times. Like there was a lot of times it's like, okay, is this movie over yet? And I refrained from looking at my watch or looking at the how much time we got left on the screen. But it was one of those like, man, I hope this is over soon. And it was just a bunch of needless killings. That, I mean, it made no sense. It was just like, we get a bunch of people there. Like, when people badmouth slasher films, and they're like, just a bunch of kids in the woods getting picked off one by one, like that disgust in their voice. That's kind of how I feel about this movie. I'm just like, it's a bunch of fucking space marines, I guess, getting picked off by something. The game master? I don't know. You don't quite know exactly who's doing it. It was a little ridiculous. But like I said, maggot rape and Robert Englund was really what kind of kept me going on this. Beyond that, I can't really vouch for anything else. But apparently this has a cult following. Like, people do like this movie. I unfortunately just ain't one of them. It's what in my bag. So, alright guys, well there you guys have it. It was Flesh for Frankenstein, or Andy Warhol's Frankenstein, whichever version you can come across. And a Galaxy of Terror. So, there we go. Alright guys, that's all I got for you. Until next time. Boom.